everyone, so my name is Andrea, and today I'm going to be talking about Netflix's new show, This Society. Why? Because I watched it a while ago, and I've already kind of talked about this a lot with my sister, and I think she's a little bit sick of it by now. And none of my friends have finished watching it, and I just kind of want to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, because if you're someone like me, I like watching reviews of movies or TV shows that I watch because I want to see if people like the same things that I liked or hated the same things that I hated. And I hope that with this video, I can just talk about it because I really want to talk about it. Yeah, so this video is definitely not spoiler free. I'm not going to give a summary of what happens because if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen it. So I'm just going to dive right in and talk about the things that I disliked, which weren't that many because I really did like the show. But yeah, I'm gonna shit on it. So one of the main issues that I actually had with the show was the lack of diversity. I know that this has been mentioned before because it is kind of very obvious. So the show, it has a relatively white cast. At least the main cast is primarily white. I know that they have POC characters, but those are kind of sidelined. For example, you've got Gordy, who is Latino, and he doesn't, like, he plays a role, but it's not as an important role as Allie's or Harry's, you know, that are kind of sort of the protagonist of the show, which is really disappointing because Netflix had this opportunity to showcase a very diverse cast because it is a big cast, so they could have given more screen time to the POCs, but they didn't. I know that the show is like, it takes place in a small town in Connecticut, but this show also has like supernatural elements, like parallel universes, so why wouldn't they have a more diverse, like, they have one black character, they don't have black women. How do you not have black women in a show? I don't get it. You're telling me that to keep it realistic they didn't have a diverse cast. The extras were diverse. You had, I saw in one episode a person in a wheelchair. I saw a lot of black women, dark-skinned black women, black men, but you know, they weren't important. I've learned that it's not enough to have a diverse cast in name. You need to have a cast that's visibly diverse. And it's not enough to have diverse extras. You need to have a diverse main cast because it helps the audience connect more to the you know, to the plot, to the cast. And it's 2019. I'm sick of seeing an all-white cast. Like, I'm Latina. I want to see Latinos. I want to see black people. I want to see Asian people, Indian people. Like, it's time. White stories are not the only stories that deserve to get told. The world is so diverse. The world is so big, and we can't just focus on a small group of people. And if you focus on more people, if you're more diverse in your storytelling, in your shows, in your movies, then the world becomes more tolerating, it becomes more accepting. And I think that right now, in the political climate that we're in, that's what this needs. That's what the show needs. It's what the world needs. It's time. I'm sick of seeing shows that are just full of white people. I'm done. You know, I'm so tired. Another thing that I had a problem with was the fact that they made Campbell a psychopath. Now, I'm not a mental illness expert at all. I'm 20 years old. I know nothing. But it's something that it didn't sit right with me. I think that it was lazy storytelling because by making Campbell a psychopath, you bring up all these stereotypes of psychopaths that we've seen in the media. You know, not every person that's a psychopath is a bad person or is a dangerous person, you know? So the fact that the only characterization, okay, not the only characterization, but the main characterization of Campbell as a villain just relied on the fact that he was a psychopath. Instead of writing out a fleshed out villain, which is what he is, they just kind of relied on everyone's ideas of a psychopath being evil or being violent or dangerous, and just hoped that people, since he's a psychopath, it makes sense that he's doing X and X thing, instead of giving him actual motives. I felt that they could have used the fact that his parents paid more attention to Sam because of his disability, um, and kind of left him without attention. He was attention deprived, I feel, and he felt like an outcast because everyone in school and his family, they looked at him as something dangerous. And I don't know, like, if you've seen Game of Thrones, Daenerys, she's like, oh, I can't have love, well then fear it is. If you saw the horrific season 8, then you know what I'm talking about. So I feel that they could have done something similar to that on Campbell's end, like, oh, since you're all afraid of me, I'll give you something to be afraid of. And then that's why he does the things that he does, instead of making him a psychopath and relying on those negative stereotypes that, in a way, vilify mental illness on a show that has such a big platform as, Netflix. So that was really disappointing. It didn't sit right with me, and I disliked it. I had a problem with a certain character, and that character was Allie. It's not that I hated her, because I didn't. I think she was a flawed character, which is totally understandable, because, her sister just died. She's in this alternate world. They're without their parents, and she has this weight on her shoulders of kind of leading this entire society. Yeah, but the things that bothered me about her was that I never really understood why she did certain things. For example, the fact that they made her leader kind of really bothered me, because why would she be the only option to be a leader? Because her sister died? Like, that's the reasoning. And everyone was like, oh, Allie, you're the only one, you're the perfect person. Like, she hasn't proven in any moment that she knows how to lead people like Cassandra did. But Allie's just her sister, and Allie had her self-esteem issues because she thought that she always lived in her sister's shadow. But then it just made no sense why they appointed her, literally, like, if this was a monarchy or a dynasty or something, the sister dies, so the other sister takes the place. It made no sense to me. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys could have voted for another leader. And the thing that bothered me is that Cassandra created a committee so that it wouldn't look like she's making all the orders. She created a committee that would all collectively choose what to do with the city, the town, whatever. But then they make Allie the leader, and Allie becomes kind of like a dictator, and she's the only one that chooses, and she doesn't want people to help her choose. And I'm like, look, I get that if you do something bad, you'll take the full responsibility because it was your order, but you should still have advisors, have people that help you. And something that bothered me is that when Will comes, like, the reason that she breaks up with Will, she's like, I have to make the choices, I have to decide by myself, no one else can help me. And I'm like, girl, you need help. Like, you don't know all the answers, you don't have all the answers, accept help. So that bothered me. It was kind of like dictator-ish. So I'm like, not for that. I'm kind of like, I was more on the democracy side. Like, when she was choosing what to do with Dewey, I kind of just wanted her to kind of do like a survey monkey, and just ask everyone in the town, like, what do you think we should do with Dewey? Like, should we keep him as a prisoner? Should we kill him? I was okay with them killing him. Like, he deserved to die. He was the worst, and he literally killed Cassandra. So I think that he died. I liked the fact that Allie was the one that shot. Like, she took a part in that, because I'm a firm believer that if you like give an order, and then you should be the one to do it. I don't think that you should get another person to do it for you. The thing is, Kit, the thing is that I watched Game of Thrones, right? And in the first episode, Ned, he has to behead someone, and he's like, since I give the order, I'm gonna do the beheading because it's the honorable thing to do. So I liked the fact that Allie did that, and I was like, badass. Like, that was cool. Oh, and I really disliked how when Lexi comes up to her and she's like, oh, they made me change, and in front of her, like in front of the guys. She was like, okay, next. Like, I hated that. I was like, where is the female solidarity? This girl, this is like harassment, you know? It was disgusting. It was super uncomfortable to watch. And she did nothing. And I was like, Allie, like, I know that we hate this girl because Lexi is a crackhead, but please reprimand them, you know? I know that they're the guard and we depend on them, but what the fuck, you know? I don't get why she didn't do anything. I know that she disliked her, but that doesn't give her a reason not to do it, not to do anything. She did nothing, and I'm just, girl, you know? So, another thing that I didn't, it's not that I didn't like it, because I kind of really enjoyed the fact that the show focused more on the political aspect, and it wasn't supernatural-ish, but you kind of sell this show on the premise that we need to find out why these kids are in this alternate world where they have to create a new society, right? But then throughout the show, they didn't show that, they didn't explain why. There was really never a reason, and that sucks, because this is your main plot. Your main plot is how did these kids get there, but that was never focused on. It was never touched on until the very end. So by that point, I didn't really care anymore, and I still don't care. I don't care why they're there, because I find it more interesting how they create a society, like communism versus, socialism versus capitalism, and I find that interesting. So that's really bad that I don't care about your main plot. I'm like, give me more politics, give me more Grizz and Sam, then explain to me why they're there. And I'm like, I should care about that. So that's on the writers, I guess, because they didn't really focus on it. I feel like they didn't know where they were going. At one point, I was just super confused, and I was like, I'm confused, so don't even explain it to me, because I don't care. Just what's happening, who with Lexi and Campbell and Harry, you know. I found that more interesting than the main plot. So now onto the things that I did like, which was a lot, you know. So I've already mentioned the fact that I really liked the political aspect of the show, because I'm all for socialism. So I really liked the fact that they had to share in the conflict between Harry, that represents capitalism, individualism, privilege, how that conflicted with uh, the world that they need to live in now, which is a socialist world where they all work together for a similar purpose. No one really owns anything, they share things. I found that very interesting. I feel like you could have like a political science class and just watch this show and dissect it, and it would be really interesting. Like Harry is literally the definition of white male privilege, and I loved seeing him being taken down 30 notches, you know. Fuck him. I found it very interesting how, you know, how these kids that were raised in a capitalist society with these individualism is very ingrained in the United States worldview, I guess, where like I'm more important than my society and the people around me, my community. Um, so I found it very interesting how people that were raised with that mindset, that individualist capitalist mindset, adapted to a world that socialism was crucial in. I really liked how Campbell just came in and manipulated people, and he's kind of like the puppeteer, and he holds the string. He like holds the string, pulls the strings of it's Harry and Lexi and the guard, and he's really behind everything. I think he's a very good villain. Like, I hate him obviously because he's a bad guy. He's an abuser, he's homophobic, manipulative, controlling, but I think he's a good villain. I think he's an interesting character to watch because you never know what he's gonna do next. Every single scene that he is in, I am horrifyingly uncomfortable, and that's just props to Toby Wallace because he's such a good actor. Also, I am a white man's whore, and I'm kind of in love with him. Toby Wallace, not Campbell. Speaking of drugs, I think that Harry's storyline was very interesting. I don't think that Harry's a good person. But I think that it was very realistic. The fact that he got depressed and he went into drugs afterwards. So his plot kind of brings awareness in a way, because he showed all of the signs of depression, um, all of the signs of drug addiction. So I think that people that are watching it would find that beneficial, in the future. Oh, what are the signs of depression? What are the signs of drug addiction? And then they have kind of like this example. But I found it, it was very sad, his plotline, because no one seemed to notice, or if they knew, but they didn't care. Like in the scene that Ali comes to his room and she's like, yo, if you don't stand up, you're not getting your food rations. And like they didn't care that he was depressed, which I was really sad by, because I was like, yo, he's obviously hurting, he's obviously not okay, so why are you treating him like this? And just the fact that no one really cared except Kelly. So bless Kelly. I really like Kelly. I think that she's a good person. And she's a good character. I like the fact that she's become like a doctor. I like that she and Gordy became doctors. And they kind of help everyone. I really like to see these kids learning new things and adapting to the situation that they were thrust into. I just wish that the characters had handled Harry's depression and his drug addiction better, instead of just being like, oh, he's not working, fuck him, let's take his food away. I feel like they could have been more empathetic and just tried to help him more like Kelly did. And I know that Ali tried to relate to him by being like, oh, I was like this with Cassandra, but it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough. I felt like he needed help, and only Kelly offered that. So, about Campbell, like I said, I found him to be a very interesting character. I think that he's a very good villain, and I really enjoyed his storyline, especially his storyline with Elle. I love Elle. I really do love Elle. So I want what's best for her, obviously. And I hate Campbell. I think that Campbell is an abusive, homophobic piece of shit. But I liked the fact that they included this abuse storyline, because like I said with Harry earlier about depression and drug addiction and raising awareness, I think that this also raises awareness into what abusive relationships are like, because they start off, the abuser isn't gonna abuse you as soon as he meets you. He's charismatic. He knows how to handle himself in situations, and you can tell that in this show. Campbell, he was only abusive to Elle when they were at home. And for example, the scene where Elle, she went to see the movie at the church, and then they come and two friends bring her back, and he's like, oh, he's the sweet boyfriend that he's waiting for her to come back, and he's like, hey, and he hugs her and stuff. But obviously that wasn't framed as romantic, which I appreciated, that their scenes weren't framed romantically, and we only saw Campbell actually like physically hurt her, or physically hurt anything, a few times. So that was the only glimpse that we got of him being abusive. The other times that we would see him with Elle, it was romantic, but it was never framed that way. We were always meant to feel uncomfortable by it, and that's what an abusive relationship is, and that's what, they didn't romanticize this relationship. So I really appreciated that, and they kind of just emphasized that this is an abusive relationship. He's manipulative. He took control of her, because Elle, she's a girl that she comes on this field trip. She doesn't have any friends. She feels alone. she's an outcast, and he saw that and he took advantage of that because he likes manipulating people, he likes controlling people. And it's easy. For example, I really relate to Elle in the fact that, I've been to a lot of places where I didn't know anyone and I felt completely alone, and I just latched onto the first person that talked to me or that showed me attention and made me feel like I actually meant to belong there. And that's what Campbell did. He saw this girl that was alone and he took advantage of that situation, and he told her, I'll protect you, I'll you know I'll comfort you, basically. And he just wanted that in order to manipulate her and control her. And I think that it's powerful that they showed that. It's powerful that they showed how she felt, the weakness, um the vulnerability that she was in, but how that didn't stop her from being a strong character, because she she wanted to get out but she didn't know how. She felt helpless, and I felt for her in like every scene. I worried about her, I felt her fear. And she was such a strong character because when Helena finally, realizes that she's in this abusive relationship and she tries to help her, but Campbell threatens her, basically. She's like, no, and she leaves to protect those around her. I think that she's a badass. She's a badass bitch. And even though she's in this situation, she's such a badass. Um, and I think that that was what I liked about the storyline, that it didn't victimize her. It didn't take away from her strength. It still showed her as a strong character, as a resilient character, which is what she is. And she's so brave, and I love her, and I want the best for her, and I want her to kill him. And I was so like, that scene where she eats the entire pie because she doesn't want anyone else to get hurt, that, like, it broke me. And then when they put the IV on in her veins, I don't know, and she was like, no, take it out, I don't want to live. Like that, just, she's such a good character. She's so good and she's so pure, and she deserves the world, and she deserves to be free of Campbell and his manipulation and his abuse, because no one deserves that, and especially Elle. And I love her, and I will protect her for the rest of my days. She deserves the world. She is an angel. But I'm glad that they included this storyline, because abuse is something that happens all the time, abusive relationships, and it just brings awareness. This is what an abusive relationship is. They're charismatic, but behind the scenes they're evil, and you need to do, yeah, it was just, it was very well done. It was a well done story. I just feel that it brings a lot of awareness into what an abusive relationship is, and the fact that no one noticed that she's, clearly she's being abused. We know she's being abused, but no one in the town noticed. And I think that, to the viewer that's watching, if they're ever presented a situation where like a friend, a family member is in an abusive relationship, like, now they know the signs, and now they know how to help, I guess. Um, which I think that was that's I think it's good. I think it was well done. Um, and just, I was really mad that no one noticed. Like, I was like, she's clearly in an abusive relationship, do something, please. I was so pissed that no one told her he was a psychopath. I'm like, that Elle is living with him, and you just left her there. I also really liked the fact that Sam was deaf. I know that the actor, he's actually deaf, so I really liked that inclusion of disability, because not everyone in this society, in this town, is gonna be able-bodied. So I appreciated that. Anyways, I like the fact that he was deaf. I like the fact that people communicated. Like, if he was in the room, they would try to do sign language. and that they included him in everything, and he never felt left out. I really like that. And like everyone in this town is just doesn't bully him. Like I appreciated that they show like, oh, what a tolerant society, tolerant of deaf people could be, like a perfect universe. I liked that. I really liked that, and I liked that the characters would sign to him, and I liked that Chris attempted to learn sign language for him, even though he learned British sign language. Like, he's very sweet. Obviously, I am a Grizz Sam stan. I ship it. I intensely ship it. And I really like the characters. I think that Sam's really funny. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for being funny. He's also a really sweet friend to Becca. The fact that he agreed to father her baby, I think that's really sweet. I really like Chris. I think he's the perfect character. He's a sweetheart. He's smart and he's a jock. He's perfect. And he has a cute bun. You know, in the first episode, when they go to, like, they try to find out if there's still a road, and he goes and he had his little bun on. I was like, oh, he's cute. But then I saw him and I was like, oh shit, he's white. I don't want to like him. But you can't fight what you are, and I am a white man's whore, and I really like him. I have a crush on him, and I have a crush on the actors that play Campbell and Harry. So, anyways, I would say that overall, my favorite thing was the fact that Cassandra had a Harry Styles poster in her room, a framed Harry Styles poster. Because girl, same. I'm a One Direction fan. Hi, nice to meet you. And the fact that Kelly was like, I'm a Niall stan, and she was like, my ringtone was On the Loose. At that moment, I felt super old though, because Kelly says that was her ringtone like in 10th grade or 11th grade. On the Loose came out and I was in my first year of college. So, you know, like in that moment, I was like, oh my god, I'm old. I'm old as fuck. But anyways, that was my favorite moment. I appreciated that Ali went into her Cassandra's room and she saw that they showed the poster again, because I was like, Cassandra, we're one and the same. I liked Cassandra. I'm sad she died. And speaking of Harry and Cassandra, I know that there are Cassandra shippers out there. So what are your thoughts on the fact that she has a Harry poster in her room? Mm-hmm. Um, I felt the Cassandra vibes. I'm like, why does he hate her so much? They obviously had something going on back then. I wish we get flashbacks next season. I want to know why they hated each other so much. Like, it can't just be because she beat him as student body president. Like, that's a really dumb reason to hate someone so much. So I think they hooked up in the past. Like, what if, you know what she tells Gordy? She's like, oh, I slept with this guy from the college that I visited. Psh, you don't know him. What if she was sleeping with Harry? And they broke up, but she broke up with him, and that's why he hates her. Like, he resents her for that. But I mean, then that would make him really gross, because he slept with Ali, who's her little sister. But men are gross, so I don't put it past him. Fuck Harry, fuck Harry. And now, theories. I've seen this theory online a lot that Campbell is the father of Becca's baby. If that is true, I would, I hate it. I hate it. I would want to die. That's literally disgusting. That implied that he manipulated or raped her. I would hate it, I feel, because I just don't think that it's accurate. I don't think I'm gonna debunk this theory because I hate it. I have no facts, but I want to debunk it because A, it would be disgusting, and B, I hate it. So, okay, so everyone in town knows that Becca is pregnant. So if Campbell knew that Becca was pregnant and he did the math and he's like, okay, 9 months ago I slept with Becca, then he would mention the fact. I think he would brag about it, or he would make like, because he would know that Sam is pretending to be the father, so he'd be like, nah man, I'm the dad. I feel like he would brag about it. But since he hasn't and we haven't been shown that, I don't think he's the father. I think it's something worse. Because at first, by the fact that she was hiding it and she got very uncomfortable by it, I was like, oh my god, either she was raped or it was kind of like incest. I thought it was incest. I was like, oh my god, did her dad rape her, like a family member? It was like incest or rape? I thought an adult. Immediately my mind went to an adult raped her. But then people were saying it was Campbell, so I was like, Campbell raped her. So I would hate that. So I would hate anything. If it's a rape, I would just hate it. And I've seen people say that Campbell and Sam's dad is the father. And I'm like, oh shit. If they do that, that would be so gross. Anything would be gross if it's rape or like pedophilia. I want to know who the dad is. And I want it to be just some random guy at a party, because if not, I will hate everything about it. I would also hate if this were all a dream, because I've seen like a theory that, oh, they're just sleeping in the bus, and I would hate that. I want there to be like a reason. And I saw also that people were saying that, like, if you die, you come back to the actual town. That would be cool. But Cassandra's name was on the "We Remember Them" plaque, so I don't know what they're gonna do. I genuinely have no idea. I just know that I want Elle to take revenge on Campbell, and I want him to choke. I mean, I would like to keep seeing him because I like Toby Wallace's face, but and he's an interesting character, but fuck him, man. He's a good villain, but fuck him. I just want to know what happens because it ended on a cliffhanger. And I want to see more of these characters. I want to see them get properly developed, get flashbacks. I would like to see it. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you liked it. If you have similar thoughts or you defer, you can comment down below. If anyone actually watches this, I would be pretty shook. My name is Andrea. So please hire me. I would like to work for you. I would like to be in this show. I act. Please. Please.